Good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to our dear listeners in the diaspora and in Armenia. My name is Silva Kachikian, and I am a board member of the Armenian International Women's Association. And on their behalf, I welcome you to another of AWA's virtual events, where we share with you insight into current issues that are of concern and relative to our lives. As you may know, AWA is a global community of Armenian women, strong and thriving, sharing collective wisdom to uplift one another. We are diverse and we are united, carrying that resilient spirit of our past to make a positive impact in today's world and to lead into the future. We are continually adapting to the changing needs to the various communities of the diaspora and Armenia. And no greater has that adaptation been than in the last 8 months between the thoughts of pandemic and adjusting to life as we reconfigure our entire manner of living, work, home, vacation plans, separation anxiety, finances, election, the elderly, the young. And then when we think it cannot get worse, our entire existence is threatened by the Azeri declaration of war in Artsakh. It has been a long 26 days, and the very foundation on which we base our collective survival as a people, as Armenians, is rocked, and our world shifts as our attention becomes distraught, distracted, and we are inattentive. Our focus slips, and our ability to concentrate is disrupted. We're stressed, and we are under duress. One of AWA's strategic focus areas is health and wellness of women, supporting her right and power to be aware and in control of her mental and physical, emotional, psychological well-being, which brings me to today's subject matter, instant focus, with our guest, Dr. Viktoria Ter-Nikoghosyan. Hello, Doctor. Viktoria Ter-Nikoghosyan is a globally recognized stress and performance management expert and author. She is an executive and performance coach who works with high achievers to boost resilience, creativity, innovation, and productivity. With a PhD in biophysics, Viktoria worked as chief advisor to many of Armenia's parliamentary committees: the United Nations Development Programs of Armenia, the Ministry of Development and Trade, and the Union of Information and Technology Enterprises of Armenia. Now, for the last 15 years, she has trained organizations, including the United Nations, helping high-level leaders in government and businesses reach their goals at record speed while enjoying their work and personal life. Overall, she's helped 4,000 plus people in more than 25 countries. She is a mother of 3 adults, and somehow she's found time to do pro bono work at women's shelters in the US, Armenia, and around the globe, training psychologists and social workers on how to help victims of abuse and domestic violence learn emotional intelligence skills to overcome anxiety, depression, loss, and post-traumatic stress. And goodness knows, we all are in some way feeling one or all of those at this moment, given the situation, the crisis in the world and in Armenia. So, to help us level up or up-level our performance, I introduce to you Viktoria Ter-Nikoghosyan to help us with her unique Master Your Mind system. Viktoria, it's all yours.
Hi, let me start immediately with the presentation, and that will be easier the way I did that. Let me just see how it, to share my screen. That's the way I want to start. And we are here to learn how to become distraction-proof and focus instantly, right? And also resilient. So welcome. Let me go this way. And welcome to Instant Focus, 3 easy steps to get more done anytime, even when stressed. But I would like to say thank you to Iva and Silva. So much appreciate your commitment to reach and help more people and for your kind words. I will do my best to meet expectations, and also I would like to thank all of you for investing your precious time and showing up, because I know we all want always to improve our quality of life. And my intention today, my intention is to prove to you how powerful you are when you know how your mind works, share how to be in control of your mind and behavior, and also I will share possibilities and resources. And I will do my best to do everything I can in this 1 hour. So, but before we start, I would like to say how it will go. First is I'm going to share with you different little stories, because as we all know, storytelling is the most influential tool in human communication and teaching. Also, why I have everything written on my presentation, because later, after we are done, I'm going to send you this presentation as a PDF file that you will remember. So, and the second one I would like to share with you is about repetition. Repetition is so important to learn the knowledge and retain it. Because according to marketing experts, people learn and retain information after hearing and seeing it 7 times. So prepare to hear some pieces of information several times. So I would like to share with you how I came to this understanding how you can get into instant focus. Okay, I'm teaching this class, I believe, that because I can turn my distraction into instant focus. And I am teaching this for so many years, and I'm teaching that to my clients and to my family and to my grandchildren, 2 5-year-old grandchildren, and they are using them so well in their life. But it hasn't been always like this. When, as Silva said, 15 years ago, I started my coaching practice. My techniques was the fastest else out there, but they weren't instant, and they weren't that good in a very stressed situation. I remember that day when I really, I can say, discovered how instant focus worked. We just moved to New York, and my daughter was 6 years old. We were happy that she got into United Nations schools, because we thought, oh, there will be kids from different countries, because, you know, United Nations headquarters is in New York. So, and we were happy with that. But she came home on the second day crying uncontrollably. So I calmed her down, and then she said that she was bullied all day because of her accent. So I calmed her down, but then she couldn't focus. We used all my techniques that I knew and previously worked. Nothing worked. And I was sitting there like helpless, looking at her huddled figure, posture, and couldn't do anything. And that was my time of, you know, it was, I don't remember how long it was. It was like I hit the button with desperation, saying, hey, I know that I know all these best techniques on the planet, and I cannot help my daughter. And how about other parents? So it was moment I remember all my life, that helplessness. But then after some times I got into my solution finding mode, and I start thinking, I'm sharing, this is the way I would like you to think. So what can I do in this situation? So, and then I ask myself the very important question we always ask in our field, who I can model. That's what we do. We find people who do something well or excel in some skills, interview them, find out how they do that, and then use it or teach others. So that moment of, it's called modeling, okay? And that moment of desperation perhaps activated my think out of the box mode. At that moment, I realized that the best focused people I have ever met in my life were my clients with obsessive compulsive behavior. Not a positive skill to model, right? But they know how to fixate on a single thing for hours at a time. That is the definition of total focus, but without control. Then I knew what to teach my daughter so that she could focus instantly. And that was total transformation. She went on to excel in her studies and later in her adult life, in her work. And I have since taught this method to thousands of my clients. And today I'm going to teach it to you. I did my best to put a picture of my daughter being sad, and then I tried to find her picture being happy. But those 6 months at the beginning of New York, I didn't take many pictures. So this is again, my obsessive compulsive clients, they know how to fixate on a single things for hours. And that's the definition. That's what I learned from them. So that's the picture of my happy daughter. So what you are going to learn today? You will learn how to avoid biggest mistake that is stopping you from being focused and productive at life and work, especially when you are dealing with more stress. Identify how you unintentionally sabotage your focus and how to stop it. And you will uncover that innate ability to get and stay focused in 1 second to level up your performance, productivity. So that's what I'm going to teach you today. So, can I teach you everything you need to manage your focus and productivity in 1 hour? Most of you perhaps would say, of course not. But what I discovered in my practice, there is like magic 15% of people who learn in a different way. I am modeling them. So those people, for those people, this 1 hour training will be enough to manage that. And the rest will need some adjustment and practice. And I later will explain why. It's not because they learn differently, but because of unique way the brain works. So since you are here, it means you are open to new knowledge, right? And I'm going to share with you very different way of approaching to learning and changing your behavior. So I'm glad that you are open, and let's dive in. So study says that people get distracted in workplace at least 3 times per day and need in average 20 minutes, 25 minutes around to get focused. It is 1.5 hours per day. And just if you start your math, you would see it's around 8 to 16 hours per week. It is almost an entire day of your life in a week, imagine, because of distraction. And I just did my math. It's 1.5 months in a year and 1.5 years in 10 years. If you don't know how to get immediately back into your focus state. So, but on top of that, during these COVID times, how many times do you get distracted when you are home? And when kids are home, you do the math. So I would like you to pause for a moment. Just pause for a moment and think about how much time you waste because of lack of that innate instant focus skill. How much time you waste? Money to you? Does it cost you health? Does it cost you energy, relationship? Just think about that. Thousands of people learned how their mind works and took under control their focus and performance. So you can do it too, because the good news that being distracted and having difficulty to focus are learned habits. And whatever is learned can be unlearned. So that's a good news. Now, I would like you to do a little exercise that will help you later after this class. Take a moment and write down 2 things you want concerning your issues with distraction and focus. Just write it down. And after this class, I would like you to check what you wrote, and perhaps you will make some corrections. I'm going to be silent for a couple of seconds. I hope you have something to write, or at least think about. But what I would like you to pay attention, if you don't have anything to write, how you formulate those sentences. Later on, you will understand why. So let's dive in. The biggest mistake and how to avoid it. It will take you only 2 seconds to do this step after you learn it today, and then practice. Some of them a little more, some of you perhaps a little less. So my big question to you is, what do you want? Do you want to be, do you want not be distracted, or do you want to get focused? Because your thoughts and what you say out loud matters. Whatever you think or whatever you spontaneously talk about, you need to pay attention what mode you are in. What you do not want or what you want. This is very important. This is what my clients would say when I would ask them what you want. They would say, everything distracts me. I'm going to get distracted again. My mind is racing. I feel spaced out. I'm anxious about missing my deadline. I do not have the energy to do anything. What do you think? After all these things that you think or say out loud, are you motivated to go and to do your project? The practice shows no. So all that will distract you, right? So every word, an idea has a corresponding image or images, sound or sounds and feelings, sometimes taste and smell. This is the way we think. We think with our senses. They are carriers of our thoughts, and there is no other way of thinking. And around 90-95% of information that we receive comes through mainly visual, many visual images, and visual information is taken in simultaneously and processed quickly in comparison to hearing and other senses. That's why our many techniques and approaches are based to work with visuals, and then we sometimes use auditory or feelings and tactile and smell. That's why mostly I will use techniques based on impact of images. Images in our mind are destinations that we unconsciously drive towards to. Okay, when something in our mind all our decisions and our actions, we like go towards there. I have a wonderful example from Tony Robbins. He brought that example that imagine that you are race drive, and that's exactly what they do when they teach drivers for racing. When person sits behind the wheel and they know that they are going to go very fast, and if they're afraid, and if they look at the wall, they will go toward the wall. The way they teach, the instructor who is very skilled would yank the head of the person, just directed them to look at the road, and they will drive towards the road. This is how our brain works. It like they act as our mind GPS. So, or you can think about it that they act as self-fulfilling prophecy. Whatever you focus, you go, all your information, attention, all your attention goes to that. Excuse me. Or think about it like you are in a dark room and you have a flashlight, and whatever you put the beam of the flashlight on, that's the only thing you see. That's the only where you can go. Your unconscious, whatever you wanted to call it. So this is how our brain works. Whatever picture we have in our mind, there govern our actions and decisions. And the interesting thing what I discovered in my practice, that even though we think with images, 95%, that's my estimate during my 15 years of practice, and my colleagues also, of course, we are not consciously even aware that we think with pictures and images, that they even exist. For now, I would advise you just pause for a moment and think about somebody you like and somebody you don't like, if you have somebody. Or do your best and not to think what I'm going to ask you to think, okay? Don't think about the color of your car or your front door. And start learning that, discovering to yourself, oh my God, I really think with pictures. So let's summarize it. The first step that you need to do if you want to be focused is to focus on what you want. It is that simple, but it is extremely powerful, because our imagination is much more powerful than reality. How many times you could scare yourself with the images in your head, right? Even though nothing is happening around us. When we model successful people, we discovered that they think exactly that way. They think only I want more, not in I do not want more. So if you want to be focused, the first step is you need to think how you get focused. Imagine in your head, okay, I'm going to sit next to my computer, focused and do what I want. Or if you are going to do some project, just think about how you do it at some fun, and imagine how you finished, how you feel good about that. That will be the first step, an extremely powerful step, because you need to choose always the correct mind GPS destination. Having control over your thought process constitutes a minimum of 50%, if not all, of your success in getting focused, and even overall success in your life. That's what I discovered. This is very important. So your takeaway is focus on what you want. Just go, I want to be focused, I want to finish my project on time, I want to enjoy myself, my work, or whatever you do. Just take in, and we will move on. The second step is about how to stop unintentional sabotage. And it will take you another 2 seconds to do this step after you learn it today and then practice. Imagine that your brain is your taxi driver. And you take that taxi and tell your brain or mind, better to say mind, don't take me to the airport, whatever airport is there. What do you think? Where you are going to end up? Some of you would say, oh, anywhere. But according how our mind works, you most probably will end up in the airport, because that's the only image you gave to your taxi driver / your mind. This is the classical example from all leadership trainings. I'm going to ask you, if you can see here a dot at the beginning is gray, I did it intentionally. So don't think about a pink elephant with yellow dots. What happens? You see that pink elephant with yellow dots, and then you have to delete that picture to follow my instruction. Or don't forget the key. This is so often we use that don't forget instead of saying remember. But what happens, our brain doesn't process negation effectively. Why? Even now, even more, especially last 10, 15, 20 years, we live in information, constant inflow of information. I call it information overload. And our mind, it doesn't process effectively. Sometimes it doesn't process it at all, sometimes with a delay. When you are in a relaxed state, of course you can process it, but not always, and I will explain when. But before I explain, let me ask you, does anybody know why our mind doesn't process negation efficiently? Yeah, some of you know, some of them by students. So yeah, the answer is because there are no pictures of no, don't, or less, like in word are on something or independent or all of them, they are not processed by our brain, mind. So our brain doesn't process negation when we are anxious, stressed, under time pressure, in pain, in panic, scared, angry, any focused state. That's why we need to be very careful. I always cringe when in a movie or in news, I see person being extremely stressed, like on the edge of bridge or building, and negotiator comes. And what they say, don't jump. Or when the shooter there saying, don't shoot. What happens? That image immediately sends signals to legs, to arms, and they do, and then because they process it with delay. Recently, I was with my dentist, and when I was sharing with them with this information, they brought another example from their practice when they were interns. One of the intern was helping a patient, and the bridge in there, I'm sorry to bring that example, bridge fall, and the first thing that poor intern said, don't swallow, and the person swallowed that. So be aware of what's going on with our mind when we are under stress or any unresourceful state. So just let me bring you some example. When you say, I don't want to get distracted, what our brain sees, see, I made it this don't lighter color that, to give you example how our mind works, it says, I want to get distracted. I have that distracted, and then I don't want to lose my focus. And you go, I want to lose my focus, or I don't want to miss my deadline, and you see, I want to miss my deadline. What you can say instead, I want to get focused. I'm going to stay focused. I am going to get focused instantly after this class, and I'm going to meet my deadline. That is much more resourceful. So just to repeat that, when you say not distracted, no anxiety, then you have that. This is how our mind seeing that. And when you said focused, calm, that's always you need to choose the correct mind GPS destination. So again, compare. Do not forget versus remember. Not to be late, to be on time. Just to reinforce it. I have a client who when I was teaching her this, she said, oh my God, I remember when my son turned 13, I gave him first time the key and looked into his eyes and very, very strongly said, don't forget to bring it back. And that's why what happened, he forgot to bring it back because the boy was under stress. Mom was like very, very precisely looking in us, and she gave him the instruction and he totally followed it. Forget. Or how you talk to yourself or your children in the morning. Hey, wake up, don't be late. We are going to be late. Do you want to be late? Do we use to be on time? That would be more helpful. Some parents report back only changing this into to be on time. Their kids don't need any repetition. So, but there is also a smart use of negation. It is like, if you say, when you say my mind is racing, you can say to yourself or somebody, my mind is not calm. And what your mind sees, calm. You trick your mind. You go into that state because our mind doesn't differentiate those things. So I did a lot of research when I found this negation. And if you are interested, I can share with you about my book, but let reinforce it what I just shared with you. Thinking and talking with negation is a learned habit and it can be unlearned. So if you are interested, this is my book. I did a lot of research and the book may be for parents, but the formula there, how to make anybody to listen and follow your instruction is universal. The chapters 4 and 5 explains the traps of negation and how to use it in a smart way, but the whole overall formula there is extremely powerful to influence anybody. And if you can influence and make teenager to listen, then you can make anybody to listen. So the book is on Amazon, and there is also a Russian version. But so if you want, you can have it. Okay, and that was the resource. So far, you have learned about 2 steps out of 3-step formula for instant focus. First one is think of what you want and avoid negation. The second one, to have a correct mind GPS destination. And this is your takeaway: avoid negation or use it smartly. Let's go to the 3rd step. That's the innate focus, innate ability to focus. So, and that innate instant focus, again, this time you need only 1 second to that change in your mind. After you, of course, learn it today and then practice. When people say they are overwhelmed and cannot focus, since you already learned that we think with pictures, they have that pictures in their mind, and sometimes it's like just around the space. And imagine there are so many things. This poor guy cannot focus. Actually, I wanted to make it woman, but the hair didn't give that expression. The hair wasn't long enough. So that's neutral. This person cannot focus because there are so many pictures in front the person's mind eyes. It's like this: when you are overwhelmed, cannot focus, that means there are so many pictures in front of you. But what I learned from this obsessive compulsive clients, what they do in their head to be absolutely focused, to go back and check the light or wash their hands over and over again, because what they do, they have that germs huge in front of them and they don't see anything else, only that large picture of something that they are focused. That's the secret of innate instant focus. When you have the something that you want to focus absolutely big and you cannot see anything behind that, that's it. You are totally focused. Remember, I was telling about my daughter, and now I can explain how she couldn't get focused, because when she was complaining about those guys who were bullying her, she would even say, I cannot erase that guy said this, that's his head, this face, he said this, that. So she had that all people's faces were bullying her in front of her, and she couldn't focus. That's when I asked her, say, okay, this is your homework. Make that homework picture image in your mind so big that you cannot see anything else. That's what you can do. Pick the project and make it big. And let me bring you other examples to give the different perspective of your innate instant focus. Because it works like a binary system. It is on and off. It's small, you are out of focus because there is many things. And if it is big, that's in 1 second you can make it big and only see that. This is example. Remember I said my 2 5-year-old granddaughters, they use these techniques. That I taught them that by changing the size of the picture, there are also some other parameters too. I remember my daughter said she wanted ice cream. She wanted so much, but it was too late to go to buy it. She was craving it. And my little one, 5 years old, said, hey, Auntie, make that picture black and white, small, and put it far away. That's what it was like immediate, instant reaction. Her craving was gone, and she said, oh, you ruined my craving. So that instant focus, it's like a part of a bigger way how we by changing pictures in our head can change the way our body reacts to those images. So when the picture is big, bright, colorful, and close, you have intense reaction of your body. And when it is black and white, small and far away, you have less intensity. And that was craving here. It works not only with good feelings and bad feelings. Our brain doesn't differentiate, is it bad picture or good picture? It reacts to those parameters. Is it big, bright, colorful, or it is dim, dull, small, far away. This is universal way our body reacts. So let me bring you another example, but this is a warning. I'm going to show an image of a spider. Whoever is afraid of a spider, some way, please close your eyes. It will be a couple of seconds, or just be prepared. And I have a 5-year-old girl, let's say Christina. She was extremely scared of spiders. When I talked to her and I asked her, hey, Christina, how big is that spider in your head and mind? She got like leaned back, and I realized that the picture is huge. What I asked her to do, I said, hey, honey, make it small, black and white. When she did that, I don't know, did she do that black and white? But as soon as she did small, her like facial expression changed. She got relaxed. And you think she would get happy with that? No, she got extremely angry at her mother. Said, why, Mom, you never ever told me to make that picture in my head small? So I brought these examples to show you how our mind works, universal way it works, and how that's the way you can use it to get into your instant focus. So this is imagine this is your project, this one, and you can get, you are focused when it is big, sometimes when it is large, bright, colorful, and close. But when you have so many in front of your eyes, especially this vacation one, of course you get distracted. So that's the idea of how you use your innate instant focus ability. Just pick a project and make the image of the project large, big, whatever is. So as you realized, our body reacts to the images in our head, and we think we are so sophisticated. No, our body, 95%, my observation, and in my colleagues' observation, it's pretty mechanical. Big picture, more reaction. Small picture or no colors, less impact on our reaction of our body. I would like also to explain you what else you can do with this knowledge, because it's extremely powerful to help you to manage different emotions and even habits. And before go there, I would like to help you to remember what I taught today. Many clients, after I teach them, they would say, so how I would remember to do all this stuff? That's wonderful stuff. So we learn in 3 ways. One is one trial learning, like you touch the hot stuff and you remember for the rest of your life. This is one trial learning. According to many studies, we need to repeat several times new skill and something that we learned to make it into skill or habit. But also there are a set of techniques in my field that we know how to turn the knowledge into a new skill habit as fast as in 1 hour, sometimes longer, sometimes less. So what I'm offering you to remember what I taught you today, to practice it, to automate the way you talk, the way you think, and the way you change the parameters of the images in your head. But simple things, you just put some stickers, sticky notes as a reminder. You can put on your computer, on bathroom mirror, on fridge, on TV, on car's dashboard, anywhere. That will help you to remember to do these 3 steps, and you will go 1, 2, 3, couple of seconds, and you are into focus. So this kind of sticker I offer you to put on a sticky note anywhere, but make it red, because red activates our brain, and focus on what you want, avoid negation, or use it smartly and make the image so big that you cannot see anything else. So that's what I would like to share that I mentioned earlier. For 90% of people, that large, big image is enough to get focused. It's so big you cannot see anything. But for 10%, it needs some adjustment. Remember, I said for 10-15%, it will be enough what you learned today. But there are people who need some customization of that, how they get focused. I had a 13 years old client that was borderline Asperger kid, very smart, but he had very unique way doing stuff in his mind. So for him, it wasn't enough to make a big. He also needed to curve that image to be totally focused. Some people would need to tilt it somehow. I remember one girl needed it to do like a round shape. Some needs to put brightness, a very small percentage, around like 0.5, if I can count my clients. It was the opposite that other people would do. They needed to make black and white, and then they would be totally focused. Or another small portion of people would have that tunnel vision. That's up to you to play with those images in your head, mind, and find the way it works. Or I can help you to do my detective work and help to find out what makes that click and to get into focus. But for 90% of people, as I said, large image that's what it is. And when you change the parameters of an image in your mind, you change its coding. We call it its coding. And therefore the impact on your emotions and behavior. So that's why just bringing you again the example with craving. You can see. So change the coding and any emotion and behavior at record speed. So this is just the parameters that help. When you receive the PDF, you can go through, but just to remind you, more focused, bigger, more focused, colored, more focused, like closer, you get more motivated, higher, it's more important. That's, you can find it when you Google, since you already know how our mind works from this perspective. So my dream is that my Master Your Mind system based on NLP is taught in schools. This 3-step instant focus, stop anxiety in 30 seconds, another technique that I teach in my resilience program. I know that life throws you and us curveballs. It happens, it's life. Imagine that every time you can regain your emotional balance, peak performance, and productivity at record speed. So that's why I would like to share my resources that will complement what I shared with you today. One more story. I recently trained on leadership and resilience leaders from different regions of Armenia with Women's Fund Armenia. And then those 18 ladies, they trained these 18 ladies in Shirak region, Armenia. And now they know about this, make it black and white far away. And they are sharing with their neighbors, and their neighbors sharing with they. And I am so happy that they are using these cutting edge techniques, how our mind work to change emotions. So today you have learned about instant focus, but I wanted to offer you, if you want to learn how to get back on track at record speed, enjoy being a peak performer, become resilient to any life and work challenges, then I invite you to sign up for my Back on Track discovery session. It is as a consultation. During our time together, I will share 2 cutting-edge techniques from my unique Master Your Mind system to uncover your specific reason why you get distracted and unproductive and how to manage them, discover your unique way of quickly get back on track. And also you will get my custom recommendation for your best next step on how to make these changes permanent at record speed. So 80% of people who just go through that consultation Back on Track session, they stop being depressed. You also would have that clarity about what you want, and you will be equipped with the knowledge of how to deal with your challenging emotions and habits. You also will learn how to feel good for no reason. This is, I love teaching. So my Back on Track discovery sessions are low cost. It's only $97. But my website, or just send me email, you will have all my data, or just call me. So go back. Again, what you learned today. Use this note as a reminder, focus on what you want, avoid negation, and make the image so large that you cannot see anything else. So I am ready for your questions, and I would appreciate if you tell me what was the most valuable for you.
Thank you so much at this point. Victoria, we do have one question, and it's going to come back to everything that you said, actually, because we have a few guests who are very concerned about the situation in Armenia. And so their entire focus is being spent there. And they want to know how they can actually effectively use what you have just said into focusing on how they can actually make an impact or be more useful in their concerns, in their wanting to do something. It says, share with us to work towards that peace. In other words, how would you, peace within ourselves and peace, of course, to the entire country. How does that work? Because I know you've worked with, other United Nations, you work with others to change their mind or to change, where their focus is. I know how you did that with the nuclear power plant, when you said, when with one letter and one approach, they decided not to open up an unsafe nuclear power plant in Armenia. So how can one use some of these skills to perhaps negotiate towards peace, if anything?
Yeah, you already mentioned in the way you said that the first thing we need to do when we want to help and to be supportive is how to get into that calm, focused state. That's the first thing. When you are in the resourceful state, you are more capable to help, right? And getting into that state is what I offered you to do with just then you choose one project to focus, make it big, and focus on that and think about and ask smart questions. What can I do? What else I can do? Of course, when you are stressed or anxious, my previous webinar with Ava about how to stop anxiety in 30 seconds, they can check on YouTube channel and also on my website. They can go, it's free download, only 10-minute read, and it gives very like 3 steps to go and calm down and be in resourceful step. That's what I would like. Start with yourself, find out what you can do, and then go after. Get out of your stress, and you can do it. It's a learned behavior and can be unlearned. That's the whole idea. First, get into resourceful state. If you constantly, as my friends, I'm working in Armenia, constantly checking news and getting worried, it is not helpful. Just devote some time in the morning or the evening, get what you need to learn, and then pick what you want to do to be helpful and just focus on that. That will be more helpful to yourself and others.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I totally agree. I think it starts from ourselves. And you did say at one point that one negative comment, and we did raise our children saying, don't do this, don't do that, don't. And then we grew up where our grandchildren are learning positive reinforcement as opposed to negative, which actually changes the image in our mind. Our mind is a very powerful thing. And I certainly hope that with all of our minds put together and thinking and focusing the way you have, are showing us, that maybe we can actually send those vibes to find peace across the world and in Armenia as well. For the sake of time, I am going to take one more question, or there is something there, and other than that, I will, there's one question, I know we'll be going over time, so let's be brief, but there's a question that says, my 8-year-old granddaughter is developing significant tantrums, especially around school by Zoom. How does one help the children when this entire thing has changed? Now they're doing everything on Zoom or, virtually.
If I understand correctly, she wants to help
Yes.
granddaughter to stop the tantrums.
Yes, because what it is I think, if I'm understanding correctly, they're used to going to school. Right now, everything is visual and or virtual. And so when you're virtual, some people don't like that, and they don't want that. And so she is facing tantrums. So how do you actually, you said image is big, image is small, but how do you help somebody not be scared of, maybe it's not wanting it, being scared of seeing things virtually or studying?
When it comes to kids, I would be very careful to give any advice without communicating with grandparent or knowing more information, because it's very specific, especially with kids. I would invite that lady, just call me there is a possibility for 20-minute information call on my website, or just having my contact. Just call me or write me, and we can communicate. I would be more than happy, because to share what I know, because I work a lot with kids and parents, how to deal with their children. And it's 20 minutes free information call. I will be more than happy to talk directly. Better to do that way.
I appreciate that, because in all honesty, we do have another question, and that is about, do we have infinite focusing ability, or does it come to a point where we can't focus anymore? But I think that those are questions. Can you please give me, put your website, and we will actually, so that people can connect with you, or your email. And what we will do is, when we send out our letter to all the registrants, we will include that in there, so that the registrants will also be able to connect with you directly to help with the focusing issues, especially in today's world. liveinharmony.com, Tervika at liveinharmony.com, and her phone number, and she is available. And I totally appreciate everything that you are, the time that you give, and your good heart in giving some of these services, and always thinking of our homeland at the same time when you do that. I know I've benefited. I hope everybody else has. I want to thank all. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Was there anything else before I just wrap up very quickly? So we can thank all the attendees across the globe. And I do know that we had some from Egypt today as well. So do follow us on social media. We are focusing our attention on Armenian women being strong. And so if we have Instagram, we have, it's Armenian International Women's Association, Instagram, Facebook, and also our website. And if you're not yet a member of AWA, we encourage you to go to our website, www.awainternational.org, and join the global network of Armenian women who share these values. Our values are integrity, respect, inclusivity, service, and relevance. I thank you again, our guest, Viktoria Ter-Nikoghosyan, and to all our attendees, stay well, stay safe, stay informed, and stay relevant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.